You just finished dinner. You're full. You said so out loud. Then someone puts a piece of chocolate cake in front of you. And within 3 seconds, your brain, your supposedly rational adult brain, is constructing a legal argument for why eating it is basically fine. Just one bite. That doesn't even count. You've had this conversation with yourself before. You know how it ends. You eat the cake every single time. This is not a willpower problem. What's happening in that moment goes back hundreds of thousands of years. And by the end of this, you're going to understand it so clearly, you'll never look at a dessert menu the same way again. Although you'll probably still order dessert. We'll get to that. It starts even before you're born. Researchers discovered that sweet flavor compounds pass through amniotic fluid in the womb. Fetuses have been observed swallowing more frequently when the fluid is sweet. They are learning to want sugar before they take their first breath. You never had a choice. The game was rigged before you even existed. Here's where it gets stranger. Scientists put people in brain scanners and gave them sugar. The moment sweetness hit the tongue, before they even swallowed, the brain lit up like a Las Vegas casino at midnight. Dopamine flooded the reward circuits, the exact same circuits that fire when you fall in love, win money, or something genuinely great happens to you from one bite of candy. But here's the part that stopped me cold. The brain didn't react to sugar because it tasted good. The brain decided it tasted good because it was already reacting to sugar. Read that again. You didn't randomly develop a preference for sweetness. Your brain was hardwired to treat sweetness as the single most important signal in the world, and then built a taste system designed to love it. The enjoyment came second. The programming came first. To understand why, we have to go back. A long way back. No restaurants, no grocery stores, no snack aisle with 37 varieties of the same chip. Just open land, predators, uncertainty, and a body burning through energy it constantly needs to replace. Someone from 200,000 years ago stumbles across a berry bush, eats one. It's sweet. Their brain fires like a rocket. Because in that world, sweetness isn't a flavor. It's a survival signal. It means ripe, safe, calorie-dense, not going to kill you. Eat this. Eat all of it, right now, before something else does. Compare that to bitter. Bitter means possible poison, a plant defending itself. One wrong guess and you're done. Spit it out, walk away. Their brain made them feel incredible when they found something sweet, and their body said more. The ones who chased that feeling ate more, survived longer, had more children. Those children inherited the exact same wiring, down through hundreds of thousands of years. Down to you, standing in front of that cake, unable to explain, even to yourself, why you want it so badly when you're not even hungry. Now, the most valuable food in the ancient world. Because this is where it gets genuinely insane. Honey, someone spots a beehive high up in a tree. They know what's inside. They know exactly what's protecting it. They climb anyway. Get stung. Keep going. Get stung again. Keep going. Get stung so many times that any rational person today would have stopped, posted a 1-star Yelp review for the tree, and gone home. They do not stop because honey was one of the most calorie-dense foods on the planet. In a world where your next meal was genuinely uncertain, a honeycomb wasn't a treat. It was a jackpot. It was winning the lottery, while the lottery was actively trying to sting you in the face. And here's the proof this instinct never left us. Researchers studying the Hadza people of Tanzania, one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer groups on Earth, found that honey is the single most valued food in their entire diet. Not occasionally, consistently, above meat, above everything else. The drive that sent your ancestor up that tree is the same drive that makes you scan the dessert menu before you finished your entree. Scientists call it a reward response, and yours is functioning perfectly, which is reassuring and deeply inconvenient at the same time. Now, here's something that should concern every parent in the room. Studies across dozens of cultures found that children don't just prefer sweeter tastes than adults. They prefer significantly sweeter, to a degree most adults would find overwhelming. Why? Growing bodies burn glucose at an extreme rate, brains developing, bones forming, muscles building, all of it burning fuel constantly. A hardwired obsession with sweet, high-energy food guarantees children keep eating the calories they need during the years that matter most. Evolution didn't leave that to willpower or good parenting. It built the craving directly into childhood biology. So the next time a kid loses their entire mind over Halloween candy, that is not a discipline problem. That is a 200,000-year-old survival system operating exactly as intended, which doesn't make it less exhausting. But at least now you know what you're up against. Now let's talk about what happens the moment you take a bite. Dopamine releases. Real, measurable, chemical pleasure floods your reward system. But here's what almost everyone gets wrong about dopamine. Dopamine is not about pleasure. Dopamine is about wanting. It's the chemical that makes you reach for the next bite before you've finished the first one. It's why you eat one cookie and look down to find an empty box with no memory of the intervening decisions. Research shows the pleasure response from sugar fades with each hit. You feel less satisfaction, but the wanting doesn't decrease at the same rate. The pleasure drops. The wanting stays. Your brain keeps insisting, one more will fix it. One more will feel better. One more will finally be enough. It won't, but the signal doesn't stop. Now here's where it gets dark. The average American consumes around 17 teaspoons of added sugar every single day. The recommended maximum is 6. That gap didn't happen by accident. Starting in the 1970s, food scientists began chasing something they called the bliss point, the precise combination of sugar, fat, and salt that triggers the maximum possible pleasure response in the human brain. Not a strong response, the ceiling, the absolute limit of pleasure your brain can produce from eating. They ran thousands of tests, adjusted formulas by fractions of a percent, brought in neuroscientists, behavioral psychologists, sensory analysts, and they found it. Then they built an entire global industry on top of it. That chip that's physically impossible to eat just one of, engineered. That soda that somehow always hits perfectly, engineered. That snack you plan to eat half of and consumed entirely without noticing. There are people whose entire careers were dedicated to making sure that happened to you. These products weren't designed to taste good. They were engineered to make your 200,000-year-old brain believe it just found a honeycomb. Be honest, is there one food you genuinely cannot stop eating once you start, where the first bite opens a door and the next 10 happen on their own? Somewhere, there is a spreadsheet with your exact response pattern on it, and someone got a bonus for building it. Now the one that confuses people most. Why do we keep eating sugar when we're already completely full? Your body has multiple redundant systems for detecting fullness. Hormones, nerve signals, stretch receptors, all sending the same message. Stop, we're done. We have enough. And yet, someone finishes a large dinner, leans back, announces to the table that they are completely finished and will never eat again. The dessert menu arrives. Room appears from nowhere. There is always room. Researchers found the reason. Sweetness activates a completely separate neural pathway from your hunger system. Fullness shuts down appetite for regular food. Your reward circuits for sweetness stay fully active and completely unaffected. German researchers even gave this a name, Nachtischmagen, which translates to dessert stomach, because apparently German scientists also could not say no to dessert and decided to make it official. Not a joke, not an excuse, a documented biological reality. Two systems running in parallel, one tracking hunger, one tracking reward. And they don't talk to each other. You weren't hungry. Your ancient brain just spotted what it thought was a rare energy source, and it wanted it. Now the uncomfortable part. Most people watching this already know too much sugar isn't great for them. That information has been everywhere for decades. It changes almost nothing. Picture someone reading a detailed article on the health effects of excess sugar consumption, eating ice cream while reading it. The article covers blood sugar spikes, insulin resistance, inflammation. They finish the bowl. Get a second one. The article mentions that sugar activates the same dopamine pathways as certain controlled substances. They pause. Actually think about this. Eat more ice cream. They finish the article fully informed. Get a third bowl. This is not stupidity. This is not weakness. Knowledge almost never wins against a drive built through hundreds of thousands of years of survival pressure. That craving isn't coming from the part of your brain that reads articles. It's coming from something that formed before writing existed, before language existed, when the only thing that mattered was whether you found enough calories to make it to tomorrow. That system does not negotiate. It does not update. It does not care what you know. It only knows what it thinks you need. And what it thinks you need is based on a world that ended thousands of years ago. Here's the final piece. For the overwhelming majority of human history, sweet food was genuinely rare. Not inconvenient. Rare, sometimes dangerously so. A handful of berries after a long search. Fruit only in the right season. Honey if you were willing to climb a tree and let the bees do what bees do. Your entire reward system was calibrated for that world. Find sweetness. Consume everything, because you have no idea when you'll find it again. Then, in an evolutionary blink, a few hundred years, sweetness went from rare to inescapable. Every shelf, every gas station, every checkout line, packed into drinks, sauces, bread, foods that don't even taste sweet. The average American encounters more added sugar in a single day than most of their ancestors saw in a week. But the brain processing all of that never got the update. It is still running the original program, still treating a bag of candy like a honeycomb found after days of searching. Still telling you this is rare, eat as much as you can, right now. Except it's on sale, 2 for 1, in a bowl on your coworker's desk. That gap between the ancient brain you're running on and the world it's actually living in is why this never quite feels like a choice. Because it wasn't. Not really. For hundreds of thousands of years, the humans who went absolutely relentless in pursuit of sweetness were the ones who survived, who stored energy, who made it through the winters. You are descended from those people. Every craving you've ever felt without being able to explain it, that's not a flaw. That's them, still trying to keep you alive. So here's the question worth sitting with long after this ends. If evolution can still silently control something as simple as what you crave, what other choices do you think are yours that were actually made by an ancient brain, just trying to survive a world that no longer exists?